Foothold, your home for Halo.
Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video games in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a bunch of lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the final mission of the Ringfall area, Outpost Tremonius from Halo Infinite. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
Matt Salvatore.
It's a shame that Tremonius couldn't actually be in the mission after his name. Outpost Tremonius.
That's right, he didn't make it, did he? And Krista Brown.
I am the boss now.
You've always
It's
been
my
the boss.
outpost.
Always been the boss. Last mission was Foundation. Back on the Pelican, John 117 learned more about the status of the UNSC at Zeta Halo. He received coordinates to the weapon, which he had to retrieve from a location near the shattered portion of the ring. Amongst a library of silexes in the depths of the Forerunner structure, John reunited with the nascent yet powerful AI that was trapped in that location for the past 6 months. With her original mission seemingly complete, the two agreed to work together to stop the banished plans on Zeta Halo. Now, in Outpost Tremonius, emerging from the depths of Zeta Halo after defeating one of Escharim's lieutenants, Tremonius, Master Chief and his new companion clear out the banished that occupy the forward operating base above. The two reunite with the pilot and then follow a distress signal located a few clicks away. Date of the game is May 28th, 2560, and here we go. We get to clear out. So this is a weird mission because, well, I got a couple things to say to start. So first of all, if you go to your map, because did we get a map now? We don't get a map right now, but we'll get a map in a little bit. But if you do go to the map and you go to the completed missions, it breaks everything down into sections. So like all of the kind of as we traverse the ring eventually, they're all in sections. So this section, the first 3 missions are titled the Ringfall area. So a lot of people have kind of skipped over that. So we're going to kind of break our coverage down into these areas. And the next episode is called the Lockdown area. So we'll actually do some open world exploration in that one. But yeah, this is a weird one because we're now clearing out this. Well, it's technically a forward operating base, but it feels kind of like an outpost that we encounter later. But yeah, the first thing that we do is we come up the elevator after just defeating Tremonius, and we walk ahead and we hear the tone. What sound is that, Krista? What's that sound that we hear?
Ma.
No, not that one.
No, it's the phantom noise, eh?
Well, we hear that once we get out the door, but right when we walk up the elevator, or when we ride up the elevator, we see a little box. It's got a green UNSC logo in front of us.
Oh, it goes like bink, 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 bink.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like good feelings about that sound, Krista? Or do you have nightmares? Like, where is it?
Yeah,
Where is it?
I like the bink bink sounds. I like all the sounds that the audio logs make. Like, once you get 8 hours into the game, you just start hearing it when it doesn't actually exist.
Yep.
And you're like, wait.
Yep.
So I hear that noise in my nightmares now. It's great.
Matt, how about you? You into the noises?
I actually like the armor cores better than the audio logs, but
Yeah.
I think they're both really actually kind of neat. I like the mechanic of that, like, oh hey, there's something you can find, and here's like a sound that kind of leads you to it. So I've always been a fan of it because trying to find these things without them would be murder.
Yeah. And they highlighted when you scan, and they do, like, they're green, right? Like you can see them from afar often. But this is a Spartan core that you encounter here, and we've already gotten equipment added to our Mjolnir armor. So the first one that we got was our upgraded shield. And now we can use this Spartan core that we find to upgrade not only our grapple shot but also our armor core, or shield. Is it called shield core? I think. So Matt, how do you feel about upgrading Chief's armor?
It's certainly an interesting thing. I think the only thing that really kind of bugs me about the upgrade process is that, and I guess we'll discuss it later, is that you can't go back and play previous missions after you've, if you start the campaign, you got to play through the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of sad that you can't take like fully decked out Chief back to mission 1 and play it with that in mind. So I think I like the mechanic. I like finding stuff and upgrading it. And like we were talking earlier, it was kind of imperceptible about shields if we could feel anything.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe a little stronger or anything like that. But I like the mechanic. It feels very Batman-esque. Like upgrading your armor and suit and your little gadgets and gizmos. So I think it's cool. I think it adds a lot to it. It adds another layer to it. Something that you go looking for these things to upgrade your armor, to upgrade. I think it just adds another layer of the open world aspect that actually plays pretty well within being a Spartan.
Yeah. I think it's not too heavy-handed. I mean, it's an element of other games that we've gotten used to, upgrading your person. But here it's not too heavy-handed where you don't have to find. I mean, there are more Spartan cores in the world than there are like upgrade slots. And you really don't have to upgrade your armor all the way. So it's kind of like a nice to have, or if you're struggling on something, maybe it's like, oh, maybe I'll go find a couple more of these so that I can upgrade my shield, or maybe I do need that upgraded version of the grapple shot to do X, Y, and Z.
And it's kind of nice just when you roll up on like a place and there's a cave and you go in it and you walk around and you see a Spartan core, you're like, oh, cool. It's,
it's a nice little bonus.
It's like,
you're like, oh, I could use this.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice little bonus. You're like, I went into this cave for a reason.
Right. I like how the equipment upgrades. So like I guess the shield one was the only one we found so far. There are 3 more we'll talk about, but those are found like off of a Spartan, whereas the cores themselves, like the upgrade points, are just in these little boxes, right, throughout the universe. So like lore-wise, it kind of makes sense.
Well, just on that point, I like the upgradableness of it, but like I don't like that the Spartan cores are just a little floaty thing, like they're a non-corporeal thing.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I wish
you want
they
him
were
to be like super decked out, Chief.
I wish they were a physical thing that he had to use, and not just you open a box and get a little color, a little icon pops up, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're just raiding dead Spartans to get gear. And take it out. Like, that's pretty cool. But like, I imagine there was hundreds of Spartans, let's say, on the ring at some stage. I know we get like different call, but I like the idea of like these are just raw materials used for upgrading, or like I think it'd be cool if some of them were like actually you taking them from dead Spartans and stuff, because there's got to be a lot of armors kicking around and bits and pieces from Infinity.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would have been cool, or not that we want crafting in Halo, but at least so you could see the physical thing, and then if you have 3 of them, or however many you need to upgrade, you at least maybe do something with your hands to like, I don't know, shove them together and then put them on.
Something. Yeah, I mean, like you essentially have like a base that has 3D printers, and that's where your gear is coming. I mean, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but like there is a mechanic there, and like the weapon just say things about like, oh, I've just made a scan, and now you can kind of print these things out everywhere. So like,
good point.
They had the framework there to do it. I just feel like I don't know, it just doesn't feel as interesting.
The little upward arrow just needed a little bit more. Yeah, I get that.
All right, so let's keep going. We'll turn left and we'll head down this little hallway here. And Krista, what is this? What do we see here? It's yellow.
It's a giant playing card.
It is. It's a trump card.
And it's yellow instead of blue, which is a different color than the other ones, which means it's different.
It is different. Did you notice
there's like
the dialogue, Krista?
Well, they say something like, "Oh, that can't be good," and the weapon's like, "What do you mean it can't be good? Good things are good sometimes." And then Master Chief's like, "No."
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope, nothing's ever good. It's
I would
always
have
bad.
to kill it
she goes, "Oh, there's another Silex," because we saw the Silex in the last mission, and she goes, "This one's open. What do you think was in it?" And Chief just says, "Another problem." And she's, "What? It could be something good." And he goes, "Trust me, it won't be." He just knows that's something that we're gonna have to deal with later. Yeah. So we'll talk more about that as the campaign unfolds. But know that shape, know that color. And we'll proceed down. So really the rest of this is just murdering some grunts that are sleeping or hanging out. You're getting out of the, this base area. And then we're going to go hit a button. And
Fuck, I love doing that.
yeah, buttons are fun. Well, they're not always buttons. Like, we've talked about buttons in previous episodes where Chief just kind of, like, slams it with his face. Just kind of like, or his hand. Just kind of like, ugh. Like, here's the button. Now we at least, like place the weapon, and she like dances off your hand and goes onto the console and does stuff. So
Does a little snap, and then she's like, "It's all done. I did it."
Yeah, I love all of her dialogue and all her like animations for when she's just like opening doors or like using bridges and stuff. And I like the way that you see her do things, and like you get some of her personality through it as well in the way that she talks about things. It's pretty cool.
She's great.
Yeah.
I love her.
So this time, David, I'll hand it over to you. We try to open the door.
We get a very quick little cutscene. So the weapon is like, I'm just going to open this door, and then up pops Escharum, giving you a little speech saying Tremonius is dead, but he doesn't really care because, Tremonius sucked. He was a weakling.
Yeah.
So, like, no biggie. Like, do you know what I mean? We didn't want him anyway. And the exact same thing that, like, you blew up the ship in the previous movie. He's like, I didn't want that ship anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like, all right, Escharum, we get it. Like, just totally playing it down. Which is pretty funny. And that's just like he's just like that all throughout the game. Just like, okay, you beat everybody. It's okay. I wanted you to do that. As if like, he's just the way.
It was my idea in the first place,
yeah.
actually.
I rescued you. Yeah. It's pretty funny. So
It was all part of the plan.
yeah. So this is his big intro where he wants to introduce himself. So that like he's building this legend. He's talking about himself and talking about how you inspire and.
I like long walks on the beach and margaritas.
Just get to know each other a little bit. So
Pina coladas, getting caught in the rain.
True.
My favorite color is red.
It probably is red. So he pretty much Escharum just introduces himself and is it like, this is who you'll beg for mercy. This is my world, and you have little time remaining in it, which is kind of a cool line. And then you get the kind of open world moment of this game where the door opens and you get to see the ring, and then you get the as Krista says, and a phantom shoots overhead, and it's cool. It's nice. It's a pretty cool moment. It's not the most.
I like the weapons
visually...
commentary right here, where she's like, "Wow, it's full of a bunch of monsters who want to kill us." So good.
It's a cool moment. It was kind of spoiled again in gameplay if you've watched other gameplay videos beforehand. But if this was your absolute, if you hadn't seen anything else and you see the doors open, like, it's a cool moment. Like, it could give you chills if you hadn't seen it before, I feel like. But yeah, it's so now we get to the openness of now we're on Zeta Halo. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, is in Escharum's dialogue, he talks about. I like how he calls Master Chief legend, doesn't he say? He says, "Your legend."
And he refers to his own legend as well then.
Yep, exactly. So he clearly thinks highly of Chief, but he also thinks highly of himself. So we'll find out how that plays out more during the campaign. Krista, do you want to maybe walk through how you approach the rest of this mission? It's really just kind of fighting up to the top platform. So that the pilot pops online here. It says, "Hey, I found you guys. Where do I pick you up? Where do I meet you?" And you're like, "Well, give me a second.
Can we go home now?"
Yeah, exactly.
I like to stay far away, just in general, when I play any game, obviously. So I think I actually found a jackal sniper with one of those stalker rifles.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stayed on top of one of the buildings and kind of picked a bunch of guys off. And then as I was approaching the upper platform, a couple guys come out of like the wall, which is a downed UNSC ship.
Right.
And I was like, I wonder what's back there. And then there was a skewer back there. So I'm like, oh, good. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. So I took out all the elites on the platform by just skewering them. And it was very satisfying. It's just... I love the sound that it makes when you kill someone. Like the...
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever sound.
The little squishy
It's
sound.
really satisfying. Yeah, it's really satisfying.
It's nice
so,
that the game tells you they're dead, right? It gives you a little X, and it gives you that squishy sound, so you know, okay, that person is no longer a threat. I can move on to the next one.
It's really good when you're using like fusion coils and stuff like that as well. Like you can you pop up the fusion coil, it creates a chain reaction, and then you can tell if someone died in that explosion or died from, you know, the AoE damage or whatever. So
Yep.
that was about it. I mean, it's not that difficult or that complex of a area. In general, there's some buildings you can go in and out of that obviously have different weapons and supplies that you can pick up. There's some brutes, elites, and then just a whole bunch of grunts and jackals, but it's pretty straightforward. You get up there, you kill everyone, then you go up to the platform.
Yep. There is a Spartan Cord kind of down below.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one, kind of the building in front of you, more or less, when you come out.
And
Spartan
one behind the main building as well. Don't forget about that one.
Yep.
As you
Let's
come
talk
out,
about
if you
that.
just turn around and go behind you, you'll
Yeah,
get one
let's
there.
talk about that at the end. We'll go
Okay.
clean up some exploration, but there is one back there too. There's a rocket launcher. There's that stalker rifle, which is fun. The stalker rifle, I think it's a good long range weapon. I didn't, like the carbine, I didn't miss a ton because the stalker rifle is there. I didn't use it a ton in the game, more BR for my long range stuff, but I'm okay with the stalker.
It's
rifle.
pretty versatile. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. David, how'd you go with this clearing out the area? There's brutes, there's jackals, there's grunts, there's elites.
Well, I did the most for Mission Debrief, let's say. I used the Easter egg. Do you guys know about the Easter egg here? Yeah.
I was going to ask you about it. All right. tell us.
I did it because I didn't know about it till afterwards, but like I say, I found one of the buttons naturally in my first playthrough. I pushed it, it didn't do anything. I was like, alright, this must be for something. I totally forgot about it till the end of the game, and I looked it up what it actually was. I was like, okay, I'm definitely doing that next time I play this mission. So that's pretty much what I did. So there are these 3 red banished buttons. They're banished. They look like banished. They're attached on 3 random locations around here. And if you push all 3 of them, it sets off an airstrike on the landing pad from space. And so all these just rockets just bombard the space for ages and just murder everything.
Man.
Yeah, it goes on for a long time. And it's pretty funny where I didn't fight any of the enemies around it. I just did the Easter egg and wiped out the landing pad, and then the weapon goes, okay, that's all we need. Now go and push the button. So there was loads of enemies around, and it was telling me to finish the mission. So I was like, that was weird. So I didn't. You just have to clear the pad. You don't have to fight any of the guys that are around the base.
Because normally, and we'll find out here on the next episode, for it to clear out a forward operating base, you need to clear all of the enemies in that immediate area.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
So that's what I did. I went down and fought everybody anyway, and because I wanted to do other cores and a couple other weapons. And there's there's a cool little kind of one of the many kind of little scenarios you see scattered around the open world, which we'll probably talk to. Underneath the landing pad, there's a dead marine with a sniper rifle, and a bunch of elites and kind of grunts and stuff around him. And I was like, oh, this guy was cool. So obviously he took out a bunch of dudes before dying. So I picked up that sniper and I used that then for the last couple of dudes.
Nice.
But I love the area. It's a really cool area, and it's a nice introduction to bases essentially. And it's got kind of a unique layout, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later on.
Yeah. Matt, any other thoughts you want to throw out there?
I would just say, you know how we were talking about, the sunlight comes through and the doors open. It's supposed to be your, introduction to Zeta. I honestly think that moment, though, it wasn't as good as what we've seen in, past Halos, where you kind of have that, I think the one that really jumps to mind is Halo 4. When you're coming out of that, little tunnel and you see Requiem, in all of its...
Yeah.
And the music kicks in, yeah, and so I think it's a good moment. I think maybe not as good as past Halos, just because I feel like with Halo 4, they wanted that part just to be the moment where like you came out and you're like, look, and here it's, look, oh, there's stuff trying to kill you now. Like the moment was really rushed, and it seems kind of weird to think about that. It felt kind of close together in a map that's far larger than what we've seen in the past. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward attack up the hill. I, like Krista, tend to use more like medium to long range weapons, so I like to stay on like the sides or on the cliffs and just kind of shoot in. I never like putting myself where I can be flanked. So I usually just hang out on the sides and go around. So I think I went behind the building that right when you come out, it's on your right. I went around that, and then I grappled up to this ledge where some Jackal snipers were. I took them out, and then I just kind of shot down at everybody else, and then I swung back around and took out the landing pad.
There's a turret up there that's kind of a pain in the ass. So you gotta take them out. If you don't take that out quickly, it'll just pepper you.
There's a lot of fusion coils you can throw, and I think it's positioned next to one, so if you hit that, it usually kind of takes it out.
Yep.
The strategic design of the Banish, putting all these fusion coils here, whoever did it wasn't the brightest, Bruce.
Right. It's like they just fell off the wheelbarrow, right? Like, oh, they're fine. Let's leave them there. Let's see here. What else do we want to touch on before we... So we'll touch on, I guess, the end cutscene here. So you clear everything out, and then there is some dialogue. So you go hit the console, and then weapon set... what does she say here?
She has a great line where she's like, the Banish are using modification of the Covenant's Battlenet protocol.
Yes.
And I'll just push it out of the way. It's like, it's pretty easy to bust through. And she just snaps her finger, and then she's done. She removes the location from their system, which automatically means you're safe, which is kind of weird. All the one would have to do is just remember where it is, but whatever.
Yeah, she does call it a forward operating base, but she more or less says that it's not on their maps anymore. So once you capture this, the Banished aren't going to come over here. So this is a big area. We'll come back to here. I'll mention it now. It's talked about in audio logs, but this area here is there. I guess the ship itself. I think it must be the ship is called the Reverie that you can see kind of wrapped around here, or the base is called the Reverie. One of the two.
The Reverie kind of sounds like a Forerunner thing. It's not really a UNSC ship called the Reverie. That seems a bit off to me. It might be. I always thought it was a Forerunner location when I heard it.
Let me just check on the old
Interwebs.
Halopedia as we're talking about it. But let's see here. Anyway, so there are audio logs specific to the Reverie in this location and like everything that goes on here. So this was an important location for the UNSC during the 6 months that John was taking his space nap. And then the Banished eventually took it over, and now Chief shows up and he takes it back.
Yeah. I kind of find it weird though, like if you take it offline, like David was talking about, they like, oh, it never existed ever at any moment. Like even especially like a base that like had a Banished leader's name on it, Tremonius.
Right. And
you take it offline, like if you had 5 blinking lights of Banished bases and then you suddenly have 4, wouldn't they be like, hold up guys, wait, we lost something. I mean, I know brutes aren't super smart, but like taking it offline, they'd probably still remember there was a base there at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just not very good at math, okay? Let's not bully them.
They must be using that new math that they teach in school.
Oh gosh, I don't even know how that works.
Crazy new math.
It doesn't.
All right, so let's hit the button. Oh, we did that already. We talk with your weapon, kind of says she's cleared it out, and then our pilot comes. He lands. It's actually kind of a cool moment where he comes and lands the Pelican nearby you, and then he sees the weapon, and he gets scared. Dave, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Well, first he comes out and kisses the ground, which is a cool moment.
Right.
Because he's been in space for 6 months on that Pelican, on only that Pelican.
Right.
So it's kind of a big moment for him a little bit. So he's super happy, comes out and kisses his ground, and then freaks out when he sees the weapon, because he thinks it's Cortana. So then they have like a quick conversation. So the weapon picks up. There's an explanation of what the weapon is and what she does very quickly. She didn't want to tell him, but John like gives her permission because it's classified. He's like, yeah, Cortana's gone. I did my mission. And then he's like, well, I want to get the hell out of here. And she's like, oh, that's funny. You want to live and I want to die. And he's like, well, that's, isn't one of you with a suicide kind of death wish enough? So it's kind of the start of the kind of rapport building between Weapon and the pilot, which is kind of cool. They have a nice little back and forth throughout the game.
Yep.
And then John pretty much says, well, the Weapon picks up a distress call. So he's like, okay, let's go there. UNSC distress call, let's go do it. The pilot is really reluctant, but does it anyway because he does what he's told. So he's like giving out in Spanish and stuff like that. He has to do it, and then pretty much you don't have to, but you can jump on the Pelican now and move on to the next mission. And it kind of ends the mission, and it has a cool sequence that I wish more of the fast travel in the game was this. Of the Pelican moving and you looking out the open back bay door as you move throughout the ring.
That would be great.
That, in my brain, that's what fast travel was supposed to be. Because it's just a cool moment. And there's little bits where like the weapon pops up and has a bit of a conversation with John here.
We'll cover that in the next.
In the next one? Alright, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it there and just say, right, this is the end of that mission then.
Yep.
Cool.
So we have the interaction. I do like how he mutters in Spanish and is all pissed off. He's like, fine, here we go. Like I said, he wants to go home. We can do some exploring here now, and so we can come back here eventually, or we can come back here at kind of any time now because we do have fast travel. But it doesn't make sense to come back here until a few more missions are completed down the road, because then you can actually explore. You're gonna hit like a barrier, like an invisible countdown, like if you go too far. So if you climb up the reverie that you can see, or the ship, then you're gonna hit a wall, a countdown timer, and you gotta go back to the area. You can come back and explore later.
Yeah.
But you can do some things. So David mentioned that there's a Spartan core kind of behind. It's like north, I guess, on the map. You can go up there, grab the third Spartan core in the area. There also is a Mjolnir armory kind of off to the side of the landing platform, and that will unlock your multiplayer customization item. And then what else is there? There's the Easter egg in the back corner here. So it's not really Easter egg now, it becomes an Easter egg. So back by the Spartan core is a door. There's a Forerunner door with some sleeping grunts outside, so you can kill those grunts however you want. You go into the door, and there's a stealth elite, or a camo elite, and he'll come out and try to murder you. He may murder you the first time, so use the checkpoint, come back and kill him. And then in that room is a heat wave just hanging out for you. So first time you've encountered a heat wave, so grab that. The heat wave is actually categorized as a shotgun. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So the heat wave, you can either fire it vertically, which is preferred, or horizontally, which I think is used for other enemies that we haven't encountered yet. So like maybe because the horizontal one, they don't have a ton of power, at least far away where you want to use it. So it takes a bunch of shots to take somebody out. But the vertical one, if you can get all of the shotgun, is it plasma or energy, whatever the ammo type is?
It's hard light.
Oh, yeah. It's hard light. Okay, so if you get all the hard light to like line up on the enemy's body, it should take him out in like 2 shots, which is pretty slick. And
I do not like this weapon.
You don't? I like it.
Oh, it's the Dead Space weapon.
I think it's okay. It is kind of Dead Spacey. I think it's all right. I'm not a huge fan of it though. I'll pick almost any weapon over it, to be honest.
Yep.
Once you get the hang of it, it's really, really good, but it does take some getting used to, just because your bullet pattern is horizontal, which is weird, especially considering shotguns is usually like in a circle kind of.
Yeah.
Scatter, yeah.
So, but it is quite effective. Yeah, the bouncing is actually super OP as well.
So you can hit people around the corner and things like that. And I think it bounces off enemies too. So if you hit somebody, like the rest of the shots will go all over the place, which is pretty slick. So I do like the heat wave personally. I use it.
Drives me crazy in multiplayer because you'll be running away with no shields and someone will just get you with one of those stupid stray bullets from the heat wave. It drives me nuts.
Yep. And this one is white. I forget. Is it normally gray? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it's like a Forerunner silver.
Yeah. That's what I thought. This one's white. It's not a special one, but it is I don't know. It's a white one. Oh, another thing to mention here. Oh, let me finish this thought. So, okay, so you come back here. So you get the heat wave. You leave. If you ever do come back to Outpost Tremonius, which you probably will at some point if you want to explore, come back to this cave, or I guess this Forerunner room, and this is where you get the Easter egg. So you come back and you see like a Marine. He's passed out drunk on the rampway. You proceed ahead. There's another Marine passed out drunk. There's a Brute, which I think maybe he's either dead or he was also drinking with all these guys. A Brute captain.
I never knew this. That's funny.
And then there's
I thought they were dead.
And then there's an arcade of Halo Infinite right in that room. So my thought is, obviously it's the Easter egg. It's just fun and it's goofy Halo stuff. But all these guys were hanging out, drinking, playing the arcade game, and they're all, when you find them, they're all passed out together, which is amazing.
There's a bunch of arcade games around, actually.
I never knew that. Well, I knew there was arcades, but I've never seen them anywhere. That's cool.
Yep.
It just goes to show you that video games can put everyone at peace with each other.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
World peace, video games.
So
There you go.
check that out. Any other fun stuff? David already mentioned the buttons. Any other fun stuff here right away? I think that might be it to explore, because you can't really do much here.
The bases are cool. I really like them.
Mhm.
I think if Mega decided to make a couple of these, I wouldn't complain.
Oh yeah. Those structures.
I dig them. Yeah.
Yep, and they're all
Which
over
we
the
saw.
place.
And we saw them in the first mission of the game.
Yep.
Those little... We were running on top of them. That's kind of neat.
Yep, I agree. There's a big there's a door, so not kind of closer to the platform. There's a big giant door in the side of the cliff that isn't open, but it is open when you come back after you unlock a couple more things, so you can kind of explore the area later. But yeah, that's Outpost Tremonius. There it is. We did it. What do we normally
Yay.
talk about now? Do we talk about some trivia? Well, I guess we covered most of the trivia.
Yeah, I guess the trivia would be in the arcade game.
Yeah, we should do some audio logs. There was the one, right, Matt?
It is. In your honor.
Our great victory at the human stronghold is complete, Tremonius. You led our forces well. Atriox would be proud. To mark our triumph, local forces will begin at once to establish a new outpost, the first of many on the hallowed ground of our new home. We will build this fortress in the very shadow of their failure, a monument to their frailty and cowardice, where so many of their kind were cut down. Escharum has decreed it be named in your honor, Tremonius, so that it may inspire other leaders to do what you have done. All that remains of the humans are scattered remnants, and so the hunt carries on until the last human skull is crushed. Thanks to your efforts, that day is rapidly approaching.
Yay. I think it's actually kind of cool the way Halo Infinite has it structured, that the final stronghold of humanity, like the last stand of humanity, was here, and it's where Chief first begins.
That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. So the other confusing part, because this is called Outpost Intel, but it's not. It's like kind of an outpost and kind of a fob. So the rest of the outposts, so there are other outposts, Spanish outposts that we'll talk about later, and there are typically one or two audio logs that are specific to those outposts. So we'll cover all of those, because they do talk about details about what that outpost was. So yeah. Let's do some questions. I think I did a question. Krista, do you have Discord up by any chance?
Yes, I
do
do.
it.
And I will read you the question that you wrote in the Discord. Except it just... Okay, there it is. All right. Colin, January 12th, 2022, 4:15 p.m. You're a banished chieftain, and you've just been put in charge of your own outpost. What do you name it? Parentheses question for mission debrief, Halo Infinite -- Outpost Tremonius mission, close parentheses. So, Matt says Outpost Cunningless.
Cunnilingus?
Cunningus? Toki McPot says Outpost Flatulence. DeSudo says Outpost McOutpost Face. That's a good internet reference. Good one.
Nice.
Classic.
Chad Smith Dad says Brown Eye Basin, the banished sewage treatment plant.
Oh my god.
And he says, there's a sign saying free candy, but it's just chocolate starfish.
Oh boy.
The pesky burb says, Outpost, I love Jaga, please don't kill me. Oh, yes, Jedi Spartan, perfect. Outpost Conan, it will be used as a staging ground for Krista's army.
Oh, very nice.
If that Discord meme is still relevant. It is definitely still relevant, thank you. Finally, an outpost that I can get behind. Perfect. Samurai says fucking simps.
I don't think that's the answer.
I know, but I think if you were to have one, I think it would be...
Probably.
I think it would say something like that. So, that's about it for the Discord, because now they're all fighting and banning each other's.
Yeah,
all the time. It's really fun. Yeah, I like that place. It's
It
good.
really is. It's like Zeta Halo.
It is.
really
It is. It is.
David, anything on Facebook?
Colin Perkins, admin, January 12th at 9:15 p.m. You are a banished Titan and you've just been put in charge of your own outpost. What do you name it? Open bracket, question for mission debrief, semicolon, Halo Infinite dash, Outpost Tremonius mission close bracket, picture of not Outpost Tremonius. That's a bad picture, Colin. That is not Outpost Tremonius.
It's just an outpost.
That's not an outpost.
Just trying to inspire answers.
That's
It's
bad.
a moon. Oh.
Yeah, we got a few.
That wizard is from the
nice. Luke says adulation of Atriox, which is actually pretty cool. Jamie says big red metal thingy. Nice. Lucas, a few of these bases remind me of the Hornburger Helm's Deep, the second Lord of the Rings movie. Hell the Deep sounds like a badass fortress name. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Devin says Atriox Embrace because brutes love hugs.
Aww.
Clyde said Demon's Break, which I think is pretty cool. Line the walls with doors with armor pieces of dead Spartans to show your would-be heroes your unmovable object and their unstoppable force. That's pretty cool, Clyde. I like that idea. There actually is those. Have you seen those? Like, they didn't come up in the game, but they're scattered throughout the map. These like big pillars that have like Atriox talking out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there are scattered bits of armor around them, like human armor pieces and stuff. I don't really know. I felt like they were supposed to be a thing, and they never were. But anyway, we have Matthew that says Outpost California. Spartans can check out any time they like, but they can never leave. Very nice.
Well done.
Outpost California.
Then Dickie brings it all down with your mum. It's that ass face. Fat ass face. Polly says Camp Arthur Curry. I like it. Manny says Turtle Outpost. My time at the Ark, the humans have shown their strategy. I, Chieftain, city your face will outlast the meatbags. Manny comes back down with a single Sangheili skin sombrero. This brute holds immense power. His snarl. I don't know what is the name of the base. Hold on. This is just a big massive thing. Okay, that doesn't really go anywhere. Justin says Outpost Discovery. It's all about marketing. Very good.
Yeah.
Riley says base wart. Which is a good name. And finally, Storm says Outpost Boom Shakalaka and Outpost Retribution. One of those is
Hell
better
yeah.
than the other. That's good. That's good.
Very nice. Thanks everybody for sending in their thoughts. I just love continuing that. The questions. So good. Let's go. All right, that will do it for our debriefing of the Outpost Tremonius mission from Halo Infinite. On the next episode, we'll be covering the recovery mission, which is a weird one, in the first open world area called Lockdown. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at Podcast Evolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve.